Today we're going to talk about the best free-to-play monsters for solo R5. The free-to-play there is very important. I'm not just going to go and tell you to get a Brandia, because I can't do that. If I could do that, I would tell you to get a Brandia. She's super helpful. Quick disclaimer, I am going to be including a couple Hall of Heroes monsters, as well as a few lighter dark 3-star units, just so you know. You're going to have to do a little homework if you don't have them already, but don't worry, they'll have secret dungeons. We got 5 slots to cover today, and taking up number 5, well, sharing number 5, it's Dias and Darion, because they essentially do the same thing. Dias and Darion both have passives that reduce incoming damage. Dias is also going to help reduce the chance of getting hit with a crit, while Darion is going to absorb more of that damage but take a little more himself. If you're running one of the more traditional starter teams for R5, I would recommend running one or both of these monsters, just not in the same section facing Mr. Kijar Kazul, because their passives don't stack like that. So it would be redundant to have them both on the same section, but you can have one on each. These guys are super helpful if you have really fragile damage dealers, which you definitely will, and you want them to soak a little bit of the incoming damage. Next, it's Riley. Heal and Cleanse are particularly important in R5, specifically Cleanse that's on a skill rather than a passive, because the boss can apply Oblivion. And Riley is one of those monsters that, frankly, doesn't care if she has Oblivion on, because I don't know if you've checked this recently, but none of this stuff is a passive. There is no stopping Riley when it comes to getting heals online, stacking totems, and getting that 4th skill. She's a fusible 5-star that offers some cleanse as well as an attack buff. So that means in a way she's also enhancing your damage output and sustaining your team. Number 3 is Hua, the fire Hua. The joke there is I just don't want to say Hua may have fallen out of the spotlight with the advent of Lauren for dungeons and other PvE content, but she still shines in raids. Hua offers slow as well as attack bar reduction, both incredibly useful things for R5. Couple that with a crit rate lead, and you've got yourself a great monster. And I'm pretty sure Hua's happy about it, because she hasn't seen this much use since old days of Giants. Number 2, our penultimate entry is Zhang Fei, the Fire Panda Warrior. Zhang Fei has one of the most desirable leader skills in all of raids, 33% defense lead for your allies. But it doesn't just stop there. He has defense break on skill 1, a full team cleanse on skill 2, as well as a little bit of conditional healing, and his 3rd skill just puts pretty much every debuff in the game on him. Zhang Fei was already a staple in starter raid teams, but once they buffed his skill 2 to do a full team cleanse, that was it. He was an MVP. A quick honorable mention before we get to our number 1 slot, it's the Wind Homunculus. I've been playing around with the Wind Homunculus in raids, and I find that ever since he got buffed to do max HP scaling damage, he can actually be a suitable free-to-play replacement for Brandia. Plus he has defense break, so if for whatever reason the boss doesn't have that yet, he can be a last-ditch effort to apply it. The one place that he does falter though is with the aforementioned Oblivion. If the boss is able to apply Oblivion to your Wind Homunculus and then off him, he's not coming back with his passive. But that's why he's an honorable mention, and he doesn't necessarily make a number. Number 1, you know who it is. It's Belger, the Fire Lightning Emperor. The dude has a whole team named after him, for crying out loud. He is the B in the BJR5 team. Even now that the raids environment has shifted from a team event to solo R5, Belger has managed to stand the test of time and is still a staple in your R5 comps. Most folks tend to still run a BJR5 comp all the way to the right, myself included, just to get through that opening 50% of health faster. As you lose units, Belger is going to attain knowledge stacks, and the higher those go, the more damage he outputs. Now, that 3rd skill is normally supposed to be random, but because there's only one target, Belger's just gonna dump all of his damage on the boss. And that is why he is so good, and he is still featured on so many people's raid comps. There we go, that's the list. Tell me if I missed anybody, or if you have a personal favorite monster that you use for raids that didn't make an appearance in the top 5. Sick. All right, later.